coat in here right now. It's just actually absolutely ridiculous. Like, Illusion Teal on Dream Diesel giveaway number 13 just pops like fire with this silver. But then we've got all of our stuff back for the F250 project right back there over here, which unfortunately doesn't come through camera like at all. What you guys are seeing here is Prismatic Illusion Purple, but it looks like very, very, very blueberry through the screen. But you guys are gonna have to take our word for it. This is the exact same color that was actually on my LML when we had an S369 on that truck. I had mentioned in a previous upload when we basically got this kit and we were reviewing it, that I was gonna be bringing a color back to the channel, and that in fact was Illusion Purple. So I saw some of you guess that, and those of you that did, I commend you guys. That was a really indirect reference, but the amount of sick powder coat that we have in the shop right now, I don't know if I can handle it. There's so much powder coat color going on everywhere that we look. I don't even know how we're gonna get started on this thing. We're gonna figure that out in another video. Today, what should I say? You ever just have one of those moments where you feel like dyslexia is your first language and then English is your second? I think it's this mullet, dude. It's the freedom that's just coursing through my veins and I just can't even think anymore, dude. I just posted on Instagram if you guys didn't see. Here's kind of the progress pic. We're manicuring the modern day mullet. My hair's all messed up up here, so don't even look at that right now. But it's pretty legit. Like, it's coming in.
It's coming in.
So in today's vlog, guys, we're gonna be digging back into the Ford. We've got a lot of things that we actually still have to dismantle on that. But as you all know, we kind of got somewhat distracted with the acquisition and reveal of Dream Diesel giveaway number 13. If you've been under a rock over the last few weeks and you didn't catch the announcement, this 700 horsepower compound turbo DURTYMAX is actually up for grabs right now. 5 times entries are live. So every $1 you spend gets you 5 entries for a chance to win that thing and $10,000 cash. I'm getting a phone call. I not always get phone calls the instant I turn my phone. The instant I turn my phone on.
No, I know what you were saying.
Thanks, Jake. Thank you. My interpreter over here. So the objective for today is we're gonna dig back into dismantling this thing and working on preparing it for all of this stuff right here. Before we get to that, guys, let's just talk a little bit about how absolutely sick all this stuff looks coated. As I had mentioned, through the camera lens, it's actually coming through as like an illusion blueberry. Take my word for it, it's actually illusion purple. I don't know if it's just something with the lens or whatever the case might be. In some lights, it's dark. In some lights, it's actually a light purple. It is super dynamic and has so much depth. It looks absolutely killer. So now that we have a majority of the lift components back, we can actually begin preparing the Ford for the installation of this stuff. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to get into that quite today, just because there are a few loose ends that we have to tie up on that truck before we actually get into putting new parts on. One of the first things is we actually need to take the trailer hitch receiver off. That's one of those little details that we really like to powder coat on our trucks because it makes a world of difference. When you're putting all a bunch of color underneath, it's nice to have a little bit of color behind as well. Take for note, Dream Diesel giveaway number 13. It's got that really nice powder coated trailer hitch, and I feel like it really kind of sets off the back of the truck to give you an idea as to what to expect as you work your way around. And then once that's out, we can actually get things back to powder coat so they can all get coated at the same time. And we also have to dig into these Super Duty headlights right here and get them ready to go down to Sean at Peach Bottom Auto Body so we can get those bezels painted and those completely built up, because they are definitely not going to be staying the way that they look right now. They would just stand out way too much, and plus the amber lens, you guys know that that thing's got to go. You're out! So things get a little bit tight when we have a truck up on the lift, which we have to move this one back, and we're actually going to be taking this thing out here soon to film. So what do you guys say? Cold start? It's long overdue. Dudes, I'm just feeling extra generous today. How about a cold start on the F250 too? Dang, man, 2 cold starts in one video? Getting off to a great start.
Let's stick them in.
That's self-leveling bags on it right now, so it's just adjusting the rear. Dude, this thing is gonna look, it's just gonna be on a completely new level, like literally and figuratively.
Especially with those specialty forged wheels. Oh my God.
As you guys know, we got specialties on number 13, and this truck's gonna be getting specialties as well. If you missed the video, we've actually got these huge freaking pieces of rubber right here. These are 375 4024s. Nitto's brand new spanking new MT, and they're gonna look so sick on this truck, especially when it's aired down. I'm so excited. What are we looking at here, Hoss? And there's bolts. I think you can do this without loosening the bed, dude. Never taken a trailer hitch off a Super Duty. Kind of learning as we go, but everything's accessible right from the bottom. So if we get this thing up in the air, we should be able to reach right around and call it a day.
Logan, that doesn't happen.
Some people just never grow up. Hopefully you guys understand, as we didn't record actually taking that down because it's a heavy piece of steel and it would have been hard to hold you guys in our hands while doing that safely without knocking either myself out cold or knocking Jake out, because I wasn't lending any really good assistance. So that's going to be going off to powder coat. We actually have a few other parts that are still at powder coat, so it's going to be kind of nice because they'll be able to get done at the same time. That will also be illusion purple. I was considering doing a few other things, but I'm really not quite sure yet, only because this Kelderman lift kit's going to occupy so much eye space everywhere. There's going to be brackets on the back because we're converting to an air ride suspension and deleting the leaf springs. There's going to be so much purple up in here where you can see all the Cali components. The radius arms are going to be purple. We've got steering stabilizer brackets and brackets that go around the axles that are going to be purple. There's going to be a lot that meets the eye, so I don't really think that I have to do all that much more on the truck other than the receiver itself. But it is very nice that we were able to get the receiver out without having to actually remove the bed, which in the future we're going to have to end up doing anyway because there's a lot of stuff that we're going to have to install up underneath. We're going to check that task off the to-do list. Now we're going to come on over to these very nice Illumiduty LED headlights. These things right here, perfectly sound. They're probably at least over $1,000 per piece from the factory. We get to cut them open today. So let's see what we're looking at here. It only looks like this little mount is gonna come off right here, and then that way we can actually access the back part of the light. Cutting these lights open isn't really all that scientific of a process. The most due diligence that you have to do is figuring out where the bezel stops and where the actual casing starts. This is the casing. This silver part down in here is the bezel. You don't wanna cut right along this side because you actually wouldn't be able to get the bezel out when you pull the lens off. Rather, it would still be stuck because all this plastic would be right here. What we need to do on these Super Duty headlights, we actually have to cut right along this little edge right here. You see where that gap is right there? You gotta follow this right around. And then coming over on this side here, kind of the same deal. You can see the bezel kind of tucks up in the back. We gotta cut this down as far as we possibly can, so that way we can guarantee that we can actually extract the lens and the bezel as one piece, because these little screw mounts are actually the screws that hold the bezel into the lens. Same thing goes up here. It's pretty clear. You can see where you need to cut. That one's pretty easy. Down here could be just a little bit challenging because it looks like that bezel actually kind of tucks up and into the back. It won't be anything that we can't handle. All right, guys, so without further ado, so if you've missed any of these videos, we use an oscillator by Milwaukee. It's a nice little 12-volt unit, super cheap on Amazon. And legitimately, we will just be cutting into these perfectly good headlights to make them look way better. We got our cutting jams, and we are ready to rock and roll, boys.
Pretty bad cutting jam, if I do say so myself. I can't see anything because I am being blinded by a bright light right now.
And just like that, dudes, Jake, do the honors. Voila!
You guys are a headlight.
Welcome. You can see your whole LED diode that runs out this entire side. That's what gives the Fords that we rant and rave about, that notorious look. That is right there. Those are customizable. I don't know if we're gonna end up customizing them or not, only because the OEM lights are really nice, in my personal opinion. I'm not sure. It'd be kind of cool to do like an RGB. I don't know if I really like the idea of like purple running lights. The concept is cool, but is the reality actually that cool? I guess that's what I'm trying to look at. You guys can drop a comment below. What do you think? Should we put aftermarket LEDs in these headlights or not? I don't think we're gonna end up doing that just because. We're back in here now. We've got our low beam, high beam, turn signal. One thing you guys need to note is if you ever pull your headlights open and you use this technique, for instance, which I recommend because I wouldn't even want to wish that on my worst enemy. When you come in here, you actually don't want to touch this. You think it's chrome and you're like, okay, cool. Like it's super durable. It's not like the chrome on the bumpers. It's like actually like a silver flake material. It's almost like aluminum foil. And if you touch it, like it's actually scratched now.
Sorry, I couldn't hear what you said.
All right, well, you never listen, Siri, you suck. If we were to, let's just say, like, rub our finger across those plastic shavings right there, it would scratch the entire area. Now, in the instance like us, we're actually gonna take this bezel out and that bezel out, remove that LED strip from the bezel, separate them, take that amber lens out and put a clears in there like we normally do, because amber light delete mod, obviously, which I still haven't done on my Denali.
Yeah, I don't know why you're slacking that much.
We put these sickest builds together, and then it's like my truck just suffers. I love you, girl. Don't worry about it. I still love you. You're my daily. But if we were to paint them, it really doesn't matter because these are gonna end up getting sanded down and etched up anyway so they can adhere to the primer a little bit better.
Also, be sure to wear gloves because on these lenses, they have a new proprietary like anti-fog stuff. If you touch it, your fingerprint will forever be in your headlight, so wear gloves.
Don't ask how we know.
We don't.
Go in for a mullet. You are absolutely right, two-stroke dirt bike, dude. Go in for a mullet. Here's a mullet update on Jacob here. Let that freedom flow. Dude, it's coming in, man. That's been almost a whole year in the making.
Coronavirus, whenever that started.
Are you going for like an actual like business in the front, party in the back?
Good old Billy Ray Cyrus.
Because I'm going for like that modern day man mullet.
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying?
About that, I'm not sure which way I want to. Depends how much I wake up and think about it.
Depends how much he wakes up, guys. All right, guys, so that's where about we're gonna wrap up that project for the day. I was really thinking about taking number 13 home with me tonight, but I think that there's some rain in the forecast and really don't want to chance it. It's just not worth it, in my personal opinion. This thing's too beautiful to get all nice and dirty. Oh no, there's no reflection. But Casey and I specifically went out of our way to plan an Easter egg for that Jeep right there in one of the ads that is on Facebook.
I wonder who's gonna catch it.
I'm sure somebody will. You guys are super freaking attentive. You can't really hide anything. All right, well, let's pull her in. Dudes, the Denali gauge cluster in this Chevy Silverado is just something that gets me every single time, but it functions and performs exactly like it would otherwise OEM. There's zero lack of functionality or capability. It is easily one of the coolest mods that's on this truck. Of course, that is aside from the compound turbos and the specialty forged wheels, and yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff on this truck. And yeah, you might be bringing it home.
That'll do.
I'm just a little carried away. I'm sorry.
Did you hear the turbo?
Oh, I heard it.
Oh my God.
Y'all heard it too. That sounded fantastic.
I can't see anything.
If you win this truck, we may or may not peer pressure you to do a really, really fat burnout before you leave. Just because we're kind of saving ourselves for all of you. We haven't done it yet. We do have the stock wheels and tires right over there. And we may or may not have discussed putting those stock wheels and tires on to shred said specific really large burnout. Temptation is very, very difficult to offset right now.
Extremely difficult.
That's the first burnout we've ever done in the shop. I'm actually really surprised it's taken this long. Welcome back to Rocky Ridge, guys. Today has been a really good day. I know we've been kind of somewhat all over the place with the projects that we needed to get done, but you could kind of tell from what we did today that it was really a necessary step in preparing for what will be the real work of getting that lift kit installed. I am not gonna lie, I'm kind of a little bit nervous to take it on. I know that I'm capable. It's just that it is quite an undertaking because Kelderman quotes 35 professional hours, mind you. People that do this as a living, they do these kits repeatedly.
You're not a professional?
Don't listen to that guy. So it's gonna be really fun to actually take that on, learn, and hopefully get it figured out. I know that there's some degree of welding required, so we're probably gonna have to get some assistance there and mounting up kind of like the central command station, which is the air box and basically where like all of the electronics are to control that independent lift switch. It should be kind of interesting. But now I'm back home. You would think that it was time to stop working, but actually the things have only just gotten started. That skid steer and me are gonna have a beautiful romantic evening tonight, spreading what is a lot more of that topsoil up there down to the bottom part of my property because, well, we are in a prime ripe time of the season to plant grass seeds. So hopefully this can actually be green sometime next spring. It should germinate and take to the ground pretty well as long as we can get it done here within like the next few days, meaning that really I need to kind of stop slacking and get to moving a lot of dirt. So that's pretty much where we're gonna wrap up this video, guys. Thanks so much for tuning along. Tap that subscribe button and the notification bell if you're new to the channel and so you don't miss any future uploads. Grab yourself some 5x entries for Dream Diesel Giveaway 13 because you could be taking home a 700 horsepower compound turbo DURTYMAX. Just think about what you're gonna tell your friends when you tell them you won.